I'm just a guy named Marcus, and I've got a story that's so unhinged you'll think I wrote it for a soap opera, except I don't have that kind of imagination. This actually happened. I lived it, and the only way I got through it was by making jokes so dark they needed a flashlight. So, pull up a chair. Let me tell you about the time my wife decided to surrogate for her boss. My wife, Karen, and yes, her name actually is Karen, sat me down at the kitchen table on a Tuesday. She had a glass of Chardonnay in her hand, and the kind of smile people wear when they're about to present a pyramid scheme. I should have known. Marcus, she said, sliding a printed-out article across the table, I've been given an incredible opportunity. I glanced at the article. It was about surrogacy. I looked at her wine. Are you drinking for two already? Because if this is a pregnancy announcement, the timeline's gonna be real suspicious. I've been on a work trip for 3 weeks. She laughed, but it was thin. No, silly. Okay, so you know my boss, Richard Sterling? The guy who wears cufflinks that cost more than my car. Yeah, I've seen his LinkedIn headshot. Looks like a thumb with a 5 o'clock shadow. Karen didn't laugh. Richard and his wife Vanessa have been trying to have a baby for years. It's not working. And Richard approached me with a proposition. I took the wine glass from her hand and finished it myself. Proposition. That's a fun word. Go on. They want me to be their surrogate. The wine went down wrong. I coughed. Surrogate. Like, you carry a baby for them. Yes. The baby that would be biologically theirs. Well, she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. Not exactly theirs. Richard would be the biological father. Vanessa has fertility issues. So, the baby would be mine and Richard's. I set the glass down very carefully. Let me get this straight. Your boss wants to impregnate you, and you're calling it surrogacy. It is surrogacy. It's a beautiful, selfless act. I'd be giving them the gift of life. Through sex. Marcus, don't be crass. There are clinics. There's artificial insemination. Right. The turkey baster method. So you'd go to a doctor, they'd take Richard's, contribution, and then a medical professional would handle it. Correct? She hesitated. Well, Richard feels that a more natural method would increase the chances, and honestly, clinics are so cold and impersonal, he suggested we try it the intimate way first, just until it takes. I stared at her. I could hear the refrigerator humming. Somewhere in the house, the Roomba bumped into a wall and gave up on life. I related to that Roomba. So, I said slowly, your plan is to have unprotected sex with your rich boss, multiple times presumably, and call it surrogacy, to my face, while we're still married. I'm a strong, independent woman, Marcus. She straightened her spine, chin up. I can do what I want with my body. I don't need your permission. Oh, you'll be doing what you want, all right, and you won't need my permission. You'll need my signature on divorce papers. I stood up. The answer's no. Absolutely not. Not while you're my wife. Not as a surrogate. Not as anything. If you want to be a strong, independent woman, you can go be independent in a studio apartment while I figure out how to afford alimony. She looked at me like I'd just canceled her HBO subscription. You're being unreasonable. This is a huge opportunity for us. Richard said he'd be so grateful, he might even make me a partner at the firm. We'd be set. And you'd be carrying the partner's baby while married to me. I'm not a character in a book about cuckolding, Karen. I'm your husband. No. She pursed her lips. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I told you I'm a strong, independent woman. I do what I want. And she did. 3 months later, I found the pregnancy test in the bathroom trash. It was right on top, glowing like a positive little neon sign that said, your marriage is over. I didn't even need to ask. The timeline was impeccable. I'd been tracking her late nights at the office and weekend business retreats. Richard's company did not have retreats. They had rooms at the Ritz-Carlton and a corporate card with no limit. I waited until she got home from work. She was radiant, literally glowing. I thought pregnancy glow was a myth, but nope. She looked like a woman who'd just secured a very lucrative womb lease. Karen, I said, holding up the test, you're pregnant. She beamed. Surprise! It took. The insemination worked. At the clinic, right? Right, the clinic. Dr. Peabody, very professional. Dr. Peabody, and he just squirted your boss's sperm into you with a syringe. Exactly. And you didn't think to invite me? I would have loved to be there. Emotional support husband. I could have held the baster. She rolled her eyes. You were so against it, I didn't think you'd want to be involved, but I told you, I'm a strong, independent woman. You keep using that phrase. I don't think it means what you think it means. I tossed the test onto the counter. So, when does Richard leave Vanessa? Because this surrogacy is going to result in a baby that's half yours, and I'm not naive enough to believe you haven't already picked out white picket fence colors in his neighborhood. Her eyes flickered. Just for a second. Guilt. Ambition. The same look a kid gets when they're caught stealing candy but they're already chewing. Richard and I have a connection, but that's not what this is about. And when the baby comes, are you handing it over to Richard and Vanessa like a good surrogate, or are you planning on being mommy by daylight and mistress by moonlight? You're being horrible. I'm being honest, which is more than you've been in months. I grabbed my keys. I'll be staying at my brother's. You can tell your family whatever delusion you want, but I'm filing for divorce. She didn't even argue. That was the part that stung. She just watched me pack a bag and said, "You'll see, Marcus, everything's going to work out perfectly." Famous last words. Over the next 6 months, the divorce papers sat on my lawyer's desk, marinating. Karen was in no rush to sign. She was too busy glowing, literally and metaphorically, posting bump photos on Instagram with captions like, "So blessed to help create a miracle." Tagged Arger Surrogacy, Journey. Gift of life. Strong women. The comments were all fire emojis and, "You're a hero." My friends texted me, "Dude, is that your baby?" I replied with a gif of a dumpster fire. Richard was suddenly very present. He'd show up at the house when I was picking up the last of my things, all polished shoes and veneers, clapping me on the shoulder like we were fraternity brothers. "Marcus, thank you for understanding. Karen is a special woman. What she's doing for my family is beyond generous. She's your employee, and now she's carrying your biological child while you're still married to Vanessa," I said. "What exactly is the plan here, Richard? Are you leaving your wife? Adopting the kid? Setting up a compound?" He chuckled, adjusting his cufflink. "Life is unpredictable. I believe in taking things one step at a time." I turned to Karen. "He's not leaving her, you know. You're the side quest. The main storyline is still Richard and Vanessa, the Empire. You're DLC at best." Karen scoffed. "You don't understand our connection. Richard and I see a future together. Once the baby arrives, everything will fall into place." It was like watching someone build a house on quicksand and brag about the square footage. The baby shower was thrown by his company. Vanessa didn't attend. The theme was "A Star is Born," and the cake had a little edible stork. I saw pictures on Facebook. I laughed so hard I pulled a muscle. My brother Leo, a perpetually exhausted father of 2, said, "You're handling this surprisingly well." "I'm on the other side of the glass," I said. "I've already accepted the divorce. The baby isn't mine. I'm just an audience member watching a train slowly derail." "But what if she comes back?" "She won't come back. She's going to crash into the mountain of her own choices. And when she does, I'll be far away with popcorn." Little did I know, the popcorn would arrive sooner than expected. The baby, a girl named Chloe, was born on a rainy Thursday in March. I found out from a mass text Karen sent to approximately 40 people, including my mom. "She's here! Our miracle surrobaby!" My mom called me, confused. "Marcus, is this your child?" "No, Mom. That's Richard Sterling's baby. My wife just incubated it. Long story. I'll explain at Thanksgiving. Save me pie." 3 days later, the cracks started. Richard, who was supposed to be in the delivery room holding Karen's hand like a knight in Armani armor, had a family emergency. Vanessa had discovered, surprise, that the surrogacy wasn't exactly a clinical transaction. She'd hired a private investigator, found the Ritz-Carlton receipts, and lawyered up so fast the ink practically smoked. Richard's problem was that his wife was freezing all their joint assets and threatening to take him to the cleaners. Suddenly, he was MIA. The future together evaporated. Karen was left holding a newborn and nothing but a text that said, "I need space. This is complicated. I'll be in touch." She was discharged from the hospital alone. Well, her mom picked her up. Her mom, Deborah, who once told me my negative energy was blocking Karen's blessings. Oh, how the blessing had backfired. I got the first call 2 weeks later. It was Deborah crying. "Marcus, please, you have to come. Karen is... she's not doing well. The baby won't stop crying. She's got no help." And Richard's disappeared. "We don't know what to do." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said calmly. "But I'm not the father. I'm not the husband anymore either. Divorce is pending. I'm the wrong number. Samuna. Samubatna. Your family." I was family. Then Karen decided to surrogate her way into a new life. I'm simply respecting her strong, independent choices. She hung up. I went back to my frozen pizza, and an episode of... It felt appropriate. The calls kept coming. Karen's sister, her cousins, even her father, a man I'd seen maybe twice in 8 years. The message was always the same. Step in, be the bigger person. That baby needs a father figure. I became a broken record. The father figure is Richard. Have you tried his office? Oh right, he's ghosted them too. Then one Saturday the doorbell rang. I opened my apartment door to find a delegation on my welcome mat. Karen, hollow-eyed, carrying little Chloe in a carrier. Deborah and her husband, Frank, flanking her like nervous bodyguards. Karen's sister, Melissa, filming on her phone because of course she was. The entire family, on their knees, metaphorically, and almost literally, standing in my crummy hallway, begging. "Marcus," Karen said, her voice cracking. "Please, I was stupid. I was so stupid. Richard used me. He said he'd leave her. He said we'd be together. He said the surrogacy was just the beginning. I believed him. I threw us away for nothing." She looked terrible, postpartum exhausted, the kind of tired that seeps into your bones. "I'm not a monster." I felt a pang. But then I remembered the way she said, "I do what I want." A woman who made a calculated move and lost. She didn't want me back. She wanted a safety net. I was plan B. Actually, I was plan D, because plan A was Richard. Plan B was Vanessa, staying quiet. Plan C was child support from a billionaire. Plan D was, convince the ex-husband to raise another man's baby. "I'm sorry you're hurting," I said, leaning against the doorframe. "Truly. But you made a series of choices while telling me you didn't need my input. You told me you were a strong, independent woman. Well, independence means dealing with the consequences. Alone." Deborah stepped forward. "How can you be so cruel? She's your wife." She stopped being my wife the moment she decided surrogacy meant sleeping with her boss and hoping to upgrade her life. The divorce will be final next month. A DNA test already confirmed Richard is the father. I'm legally and morally free. That baby is not mine. Karen sobbed. "But I can't do this by myself. I have no job. I quit because Richard said he'd take care of everything. The nursery is a rental. The credit cards are maxed out. And the grateful partner who promised to co-parent is hiding out in the Hamptons with his wife. I need you." I chuckled, dark and genuine. "You need a wallet and a live-in nanny, not a husband. You made your bed, literally, and now you've got a baby in it. I am not the solution to a problem you created for yourself while I was asking you not to." Melissa, still filming, shouted, "You're just gonna abandon a child." "Not my baby, not my problem. That's a Sterling, not a Davidson. Go ask the thumb with the 5 o'clock shadow to step up." I looked right into the phone camera. "Richard Sterling, deadbeat dad. He's got plenty of money. Get a lawyer, sue him, garnish his wages, do the strong, independent thing. I'm not your bailout." Frank, quiet until now, said, "Son, have a heart." "My heart's intact, Frank. It's my trust that's shattered, also my 401k, thanks to legal fees. I'm not setting myself on fire to keep Karen warm, especially not when she lit the match and called it empowerment." I closed the door gently but firmly. Through the wood I could hear the wailing begin. Karen crying, the baby crying, Deborah wailing about what kind of man, Melissa shouting that she was going to blow this up on TikTok. I walked to my kitchen, opened a beer and toasted the empty space where my marriage used to be. The divorce would finalize without drama. My lawyer had the paternity test results and a clear abandonment of marital vows argument. Karen could fight for spousal support, but given the circumstances, the judge wasn't likely to be generous. She'd end up chasing Richard through courts for the next 18 years. I'd be blissfully disconnected. A few months later, I heard through the grapevine that Richard's wife kicked him out, then got back together with him after he agreed to a post-nuptial agreement that basically neutered him financially. The baby, Chloe, was being raised by a bitter Karen and the occasional reluctant check from Richard, who saw her as a liability. Karen's Instagram rebranded to Darn Single Mom Life, on Strong Single Woman, on Betrayed but Blessed. She posted quotes about karma and snakes. I didn't comment. I'd already said my piece. I'm not heartless. I'm just a guy who knows when he's been played. There's a difference between supporting your partner and being the cleanup crew for their selfishness. She wanted a risk. She took it. It backfired. I opted out of the explosion radius. Sometimes the funniest punchline is the one you deliver by walking away. And if that makes me a dark, humor-filled man, pass the popcorn.